Hello and welcome back to Randomly Generated Conversations. Today we have with us a super special guest, my amazing wife, Mabel.
Hello.
All right, and without delaying, the first topic is, if you were a photographer for a day, what would you take pictures of?
That's a very easy one for me.
Okay, you go first.
Because I want to be a photographer for a day. And be able to take pictures of nature and like sunsets and sunrises. Well, I would start with the sunrise because if it's for a day. And then...
I think every morning you kind of think you are a photographer for the day.
Yeah.
Because you'll stop the car in the middle of the road to take a picture of a sunrise.
Yep. And also, I love moons. I don't know, I can't... Well, like the moon. No moons, but like...
Yeah.
I
have this deep passion for moons.
Yeah. Not the moon. Like... pictures of the moon, but I can never get a good picture of the moon because I don't have the right tools. So I wish I had the right tools and a beautiful moon so I could take a picture of it.
Well, the iPhone isn't necessarily the best for that because it kind of puts on this light at night and tries to fill in the darkness with the light, and I haven't learned how to turn that off.
Yep.
And so it just washes out the moon. So maybe with a better camera or something.
I think, something I had just forgotten until we had started talking about moons was the lunar eclipse.
Mm-hmm.
It was this morning, 1 a.m. I think it was. And we could have taken, that would have been our photography for a day, would be taking photos of lunar eclipse. But we can do that whenever another one comes, because they're not as, uncommon as we think they are. At first, solar eclipse and lunar eclipse are like, oh my gosh, they're so uncommon, this and that. Well, if you think about it, certain amounts of years, and then sometimes it will happen more than others and stuff like that. So we really don't know how far those are from each other. So, taking photos of lunar eclipses, though, that would be amazing. Speaking
of the eclipse, this morning I was driving my daughter to the store, and she's like, the moon, and points out the window. Well, there was a cloud, but you could see a moon through the cloud. And the cloud was kind of glowing because the sun was really close by it. So it had already passed the eclipse. But the moon was still close by the sun at that point. And she was pointing to the moon. And I'm like, well, don't stare at it for too long. Because if the cloud moves and the sun's right there, it's going to go right into her eyes. But it was so cool because you could actually see the sun through the... Or not the sun. The moon through the cloud. It was really cool.
That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
So I guess I kind of wish I would have got a picture of that. But what I would love to take a picture of if I was a photographer for a day, I would love to be kind of like you, a nature photographer, but of wild animals. Right? Get pictures of the tree frogs, the poison dart frogs. Get pictures of up close of rattlesnakes.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Maybe some sharks
and bear hugging
some sharks in the water.
Hugging some bears.
Arm wrestling a bear, yep. No, but I think it would be really cool to have take pictures of the wild animals. You know, the monkeys that hang out in the hot spring in Japan. Be the guy sitting there with them that they're wondering if it's just another monkey, right? And you're just there taking pictures of them. Yeah. And you hand them the camera. Hey, now it's your time to take a picture of me.
Talking about the monkeys, I saw this documentary yesterday. I'm not going to talk about what I saw in there, but it was about monkeys. It was very interesting. And my daughter, the 3-year-old one, she was like, oh, they're dancing. Yeah, sure, honey. They're dancing.
Gotta love nature, right?
Yeah.
Well, some people call it dance. Others call it... The next subject is...
Hey, wait! I didn't get so on.
I thought you said eclipse, right?
That's what I was saying.
If you're facing a problem, who is the first person you'd be... Who's the first person you would want to talk to?
Who's the first person you would blame? I'm just kidding.
That's usually where it comes down to. Especially you guys as kids, right? Who did this? Everybody's pointing fingers at each other.
There's actually something funny that in history, so really quick before I answer this question, in history they were over here and there was this little cartoon thing about how who did this, and this was like talking about start of World War One. Everybody's pointing fingers, and you have that one guy that's just standing there, just like folding his arms because nobody's pointing at him, and he doesn't want to point at anyone. And
right.
So it was one of like, and it was Italy. They represented it as Italy because Italy really was not choosing sides. They like thought, you know what? Let's just let this die down, and then we'll pick the winning side. This is what we found out. So yeah. But what's the
Sometimes that's the easiest way to get out of the blame, right?
Yeah.
Is by not pointing the finger. Because they automatically assume the person who's blaming somebody else is guilty. So if you're just there and you're the quiet one, then you kind of just fly under the radar.
Very true.
Life lessons. The question is, if you were facing a problem, who is the first person you would want to talk to?
Probably you, I'm not gonna lie. You and Mom. Because if I'm facing a problem, I can't go to like, even though I'd go to my friends and say, hey, I'm facing this problem, they're not gonna be able to help me as much as you guys would, because you're my parents. I mean, my friends would be able to help, but some things just, like, you need to talk to your parents about if you're facing problems, so.
Okay.
That's good.
I think mine would be Dr. Phil. Just kidding. No, I think usually the first person, if I have a problem, that I talk to is my wife. And then if we need to figure it out somewhere else, then we go from there.
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, it's usually Wes or my mom. Every time I'm facing a problem, it's either one of the two. Because it's like your parents, right? You want to talk to your parents and ask for suggestions too, even when you're older. Because, your mom has gone through this, maybe similar things. Not the same, but similar things that, or has more input.
So how intense are we going with problem-wise, though? Is it like, from a scale of, oh, I don't know where to wear, red or blue today? Hey, Mom, Dad, what should I wear? To a scale of, hey, I kind of need some help.
Both.
I think both. I mean, really, and this isn't saying who's the only person you would talk to. It's who's the first person you would talk to.
Yeah.
Right? That's why I brought up Mabel, is if a problem comes up, she's the first person I'm going to talk to because she's the one closest to me at time. Even when she's like at work, she's still the closest, not necessarily in proximity, but like, when it has to do with family and everything, we make decisions about the kids and everything all together. So that's usually why I go to her first. And then that doesn't mean I'm not going to go talk to somebody else after that, right? If we need help in something else. I mean, if my car broke down and, hey, my car broke down, well, I don't end it there. Afterwards, I may call a tow truck or a mechanic or my dad or somebody to come tow me, right? But the first person would definitely be, I said her, but when I was your age, it would have been my parents, right? I think having that trust and respect for your parents, respect for their experiences that they've had to go through. If we don't dig into that or take advantage of it, then they kind of had to go through the suffering for nothing, right? Because isn't that how we get our experiences, is through suffering?
Sometimes.
There was a question. There was a question that one of my friends had asked. It's like, in the future, what are we gonna look back at and start laughing? And they're like, well, whatever we did. I answered, well, whatever we did that like we thought was funny back then, or like the personal suffering of right now. We're gonna come back and go, ha, that's funny. I'm dealing with something even worse and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be like, ha, well, I might have been thinking this then. It's kind of worse now. And it's like, but it's going to get better, so.
Right, in the moment it may be this 5-page English paper you have to write. That may be a huge amount of suffering, right?
And then 3 years later, it's 10.
You're writing a 100-page proposal, and it's due within a week because they changed everything last minute. I mean, so what is difficult at that point, later in your life, you're like, oh, I would love to just have a 5-page essay to write instead of all this. Oh man, I don't have enough money to go to the gas station and buy a soda. I mean, when you're trying to make sure you make mortgage payments, you kind of wish you were worried about just being able to go buy a soda at the gas station, right, Bastion?
Did that come up because of what happened today? Today, they had a deal at the place I usually go. Not usually, but like go with friends to lunch and stuff like that. They had a deal of 55 cent sodas up to like 40-something ounces. I had 52 or 54 cents.
And you couldn't buy
And I couldn't buy my soda. And it drove me crazy.
Don't they have the give a penny, take a penny? Or have you taken too many pennies?
I don't know.
He's on the do not give a penny to list. Like, has a picture of Bastion right there. Don't give this guy a penny.
No, we know the people over there. Like
that's why they don't want to give you a penny.
Yep.
All right. Next subject. If you could dedicate a day to something, what would you dedicate it to?
Pickles.
Pickles. Okay. Elaborate.
The reason why I'd say pickles is because pickles, they get a bad rep, you know? Not that many people like them because they're either too sour or stuff like that. But then there's those people that are like, well, why don't you like pickles, this and that? And I love pickles. And pickles need a day to be appreciated where it's like, hey, you could drink homemade pickle juice. Let's go with that.
Ooh,
Where like you blend pickles and that's like pickle juice or like
a pickle smoothie.
Yes, pickle smoothie, pickle ice cream, pickle like. There's a competition to grow the biggest like zucchini so that it could turn into a pickle or not.
That'd be a cucumber.
Okay.
If you can pickle zucchini, you probably can. It might be good.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, you try different types of pickles, too. So you like pickles, zucchini, cucumbers. Whoever can grow the biggest one, like, wins something. And then they get to make that into snacks and stuff like that. They get to prepare the feast. But it has to be a feast of, like, whatever they grew. And stuff like that. And it could be, like, other vegetables and stuff like that. But pickles. Like, pickle sandwiches and stuff like that. It would be amazing.
Pickle peanut butter sandwiches?
Yes.
I don't think pickles.
Done that.
I have done pickle and peanut
That's
butter
actually
sandwiches.
pretty good. I've tried one too.
I agree. Pickles don't get the respect they deserve, and they're kind of a big deal. So.
No, that was bad.
If I could dedicate a day to something, it would be. I'd say rest, but we already have a day of rest. So if I dedicate a day to something, it would be a day of music. I know we have like a day of dance. I know we have a day of different things, but dedicate a day to music. Maybe I'm going to go beyond a day, but maybe like a week or have it music month. We have different months, right? For different celebrations and different things like that. But let's say July or March is music month. And every couple days it's a different genre of music. This one's for jazz. This is for bluegrass. This is for country. This is for western. This is for rock. This one's for classical. This one's for pop. We'll leave the rap music out of there. This one's for different styles, right? And during that time, the radio station will play like just that style of music and celebration for it. People will get their instruments and go out there and kind of dedicate time. I think that would be fun, right?
Have a parade, like on one of the days, like the ending day of the month, you have a big music parade. And like you go down, you each have like a different float that's like decorated and
to a different style of music.
And
right?
you each go down, and you should have the classical right in front of the rock. So you're listening to classical music right then, and afterward you just hear hard rock. That would be funny.
Oddly enough, I think those two go very well together. I really enjoy classical music, and I enjoy rock music. And I once had a playlist that would have classical and rock music on the same playlist. And I think they go well together.
I agree. Like, I like to listen to rock, and I like to listen to classical. Classical, the reason why I like to listen to it is because of piano. Piano's one of my favorite instruments. Piano, violin, those two are my favorite instruments other than ukulele. I can play the ukulele and piano. I can't play violin, but not saying, well, also cello. Okay, we're just going to go with that.
Wait, cello? What?
Cello's in classical music.
Okay, I thought you were saying something about being able to play cello.
No, I'm saying I've never played cello.
Wait, what?
But I'm saying, like, all these instruments are great instruments.
All I know about the cello is when the phone goes bring, bring, and I go, cello.
No.
Just kidding.
You mean the string goes bring, bring, and then you go cello?
Right.
I like it.
You got it.
But yeah, I just think that would be fun to, like, do that, because it would be great.
All right, and the final subject is, if you could be invisible for a day, what would you do? Sleep where my kids can't find me.
Pull a prank on my friends. Not kidding. I'd go to school.
Uh-huh.
Like, I'd still go to school, but I wouldn't have to go to my classes, because we could say I'm excused. Because would you guys know about me being invisible for the day? Or...
Yeah.
So I'd tell you guys then.
We wouldn't know where you are.
But I'd say, hey, I'm invisible this day. I'm going to be going to school so I can play a prank on my friends. And then my siblings are going to hear me speaking, and they're going to be like, wait, where is he? And I'm going to be sitting in the seat, the same seat I always sit in.
Okay, keep going.
And then I'd start going there, or I drive around. I would drive around so that it looks very weird that nobody's in the driver's seat driving while the car is moving around. I'd love that.
But you do realize that if you did go to school, you'd have to be naked. Right? I'm sorry. It's like anybody's nightmare of the showing up to class naked. In order to go there invisible, that's what would be required.
Who tapped me on my shoulder?
Ew.
Right. And so we'd be like, have a good day at school, son. See you tomorrow. Literally, see you tomorrow.
And I'm not associated with you for this day, but see you tomorrow.
What if we,
I could sneak onto the bus.
what's it called? Run you over because we didn't see you.
Right? Yeah. Crossing a street while invisible is very dangerous, right?
Yeah.
No cars?
So, are we saying, so to get around the nakedness, stuff that touches you becomes invisible too? But then how do you prevent your car from becoming invisible when you're sitting in it?
No. We're going at the parameters that your clothes are invisible with you.
Okay. How about when you eat? Does the food just like kind of go down invisible through your body, or does it become invisible
that would be
when
cool.
it's absorbed into you?
That would be cool. Like, then you see it just go down something, and you're like, what's this doing? And all of a sudden it disappears once it hits your stomach.
Right, see this little strawberry just like floating downward.
That'd be fun.
You're slurping a smoothie.
That'd actually be pretty cool.
All right, Mabel, if you could be invisible for a day, what would you do? Besides sleeping and catching up on sleep while kids can't wake you up.
I would go. I don't know. I would go to the park. Just kidding. I don't know.
Since as an adult you kind of look down upon when you play on the park, so you go there and play without people seeing.
Yeah.
Why is that swinging?
It's
I
swinging.
Huh?
Yeah.
Ow, my thumb.
Yeah. That's probably what. Just walk around.
Observe people.
Observe people. Yeah. Without feeling judged.
You could judge without feeling judged.
Yeah.
That's the best.
Yeah. Or I could be like gossiping. Like hearing all the gossip from people.
And then
Oh, and then they're like, how did you know about that?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
you
Yeah.
talked about observing people.
Uh-huh.
Well, you want to know where your friend lives?
You...
You just follow them home.
Well, if they were your
Never-
friend, you would know where they live. Otherwise, you're just stalking somebody.
Yeah.
I've been friends with one of my friends for, I don't know how many years. It was like 6 years, probably. Because 3rd grade to 9th, I think it was. That's not 6. Yeah, that's 6 years. Oh, you know? Yeah. 6 years. And I
Math.
still didn't know where his house was. And then eventually we actually figured it out, so.
If I was invisible for a day, I think observing people would be fun. I think, I don't know, being able to do things that I would be afraid to do if I, like get up close and personal with with a lion or a tiger, right? Where they're not gonna be able to see me.
But they'll smell
No,
you.
that's what I was going to say.
That's true. Never mind. Scratch that. No up close and personal with
No,
the tiger.
no. You make your you make yourself smell like a tiger. And then you walk in there. Because then they only smell other tiger.
Get into a gated community and take part of all their amenities without them knowing.
Right. Yeah. And go in their huge fancy houses and play bowling or whatever they're gonna
Right?
have. Yeah.
They'll just think it's a ghost. I mean, what big house isn't haunted, right?
Exactly.
They wouldn't even know you're there because they're never there.
Right?
It's like, woohoo! Has like a gigantic water slide in their backyard and goes in their pool. This is the life. Sees like this random floaty just floating around. Huh. What's going on there? Sees a drink in their hand.
Just don't eat right before going swimming. Because then when you get a cramp, there's nobody there to save you.
That's actually true. But then again, you wouldn't be able to go swimming because there's nobody able to save you.
Everybody just sees the water like, what's going on? Yeah,
Jets installed?
I think stuff like that would be harmless and just kind of silly. I mean, not necessarily harmless. You're breaking into somebody's house to play bowling. But, I mean...
Officer, I did it for a good cause. I was invisible.
I just wanted to see how it felt like.
I guess if I can be visible for a day, I do the things I couldn't see myself doing on other days. We hope you enjoyed it and hope you'll join us next time. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.